Hello, it is the 26th of April 2022. It is the fifth installment for me in What Had Happened Was. I'll begin with two stories because experiences help shape who we are. And even hearing of others' stories can profoundly touch us. Before the stories, please allow me a moment to take time to appreciate Susan Wojcicki and Mark Zuckerberg for their leadership of two major social media platforms, YouTube and Facebook, which allow Americans to connect and educate themselves. Secondly, I'd like to say hello to Michelle, Amanda, and Gina, the survivors of the Cleveland, Ohio kidnapping story. Those ladies who were saved by the neighbor Charles Ramsey. Now, here are my two stories that I will tie into for some other serious talk. And I'll probably have to come back and do the serious talk about the two stories that I'd like to tell. The first story is about a period in my youth. I guess I was in my 20s or so, when a dear pastor, very, very special to me, sat the ladies down. I believe it was Women's Month or something like that. The reason for which the ladies had been gathered together for a special lesson. And during this lesson, and if you're raised in the church as a young lady, our big brothers and sisters typically will get together with a sermon to help specifically help us ladies to be virtuous women. So we had a little reality talk from this pastor, and the pastor said to the ladies, "Ladies, now condoms will protect you from pregnancy. Condoms can even protect you from disease, sexually transmitted diseases, STDs. And thirdly, what you ladies may not be aware of, you might be thinking you getting away with that other stuff, not getting pregnant and not getting a disease by using condoms. So the whole thing is about making sure ladies understand they're not supposed to be promiscuous and things of that nature. And he said, thirdly, condoms do not protect from sexually transmitted demons, transference of spirits via the act of sex. And he demonstrated when you become one with an individual, you also become one with those spirits that that individual may carry in their person. So, of course, the ladies are like, wow, that's some serious stuff. He said, you could not be a thief one day, and all of a sudden the next day, you could start wanting to steal stuff and don't even understand why you want to steal stuff now because of who you done slept with. Pure one day, unpure the next, because of who you've connected and allowed your soul to get tied to. Okay, so that in in a gist. We can build on that, or I will build that on that at another time. Or I'm telling you this to understand. Sometimes when you see a person in an instance, you don't know what foundational structure of thinking is in that brain, which is my brain. You connect with me. You don't know what experiences I've had. So you can't take people for granted just by looking at them and thinking this, that, and other. So here's the second story. And this was a more recent encounter, as I do earn income in the ride share industry. So one night I had finished, so I thought, serving, and wound up in I think I was in the Virginia area, resting somewhere out there. And I just decided, I thought I was finished. I said, well, let me just turn the app back on and see. It may be somebody that needs serving in this area. And so I did. I turned the app back on, see if I could squeeze in one more customer for the day. In doing so, I got assigned to a gentleman, young Hispanic young man. I get out to his destination. He gets in the car and he says, "Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you're here. I just didn't think I'd get a ride out here this late at night. I'm so glad you showed up and that you were in the area." And he was so adamant about being excited about my being available. So he starts telling me his story about why he was so glad I was available. He says, "Ma'am," he said, "and the reason why I'm telling you this is because I needed to get away from here." He said, "My friend, he invited me over for playing video games." He said, in playing video games, the man got drunk and the man started coming on to me sexually. And he said, "I just knew I had to get out of there. I had to get out." He said, I knew the friend, maybe he had some other stuff going on with him, but I accepted the man for who he was. But that stuff right there, him trying to come on to me sexually and all that kind of stuff, I ain't about that. He said, I had to find a way to get up on out of here. So I had to find ride share ride out of here. And I'm so glad you was available. And I applauded the young man and I said to him, he knew who he was in his sexuality. He wasn't going to allow himself to be introduced to another lifestyle that wasn't who he was as an individual. He knew who he was. He knew how to love that person for whatever, that dynamic going on with him, without allowing himself to be pulled into a direction he didn't want to go into, because he knew who he was as a man. And he thanked me for being available at that time of the evening. And so I'm sharing this story for a reason, because then I also got enlightened from his experience that even as women may go through challenges in trying to hold on to purity or whatever, men have to go through these same scenarios in order to hold on to the lifestyle that they want to, heterosexual lifestyle. That there's an enticement process that goes into converting people from heterosexuality into other experiences. So those are the two stories I'm going to start with, and then I'm going to build on those stories at a little later time.